Got to tell you, there's no time to waste today. We're not messing around. We're jumping in right here. We got the new banner in the house with the new FTN logo. So many great things going on here at FTN. The data's blowing up. We got the Super Bowl coming up next week. Jeff Radcliffe, Aaron Schatz's going to be at the Super Bowl. Can't wait. You're here for college basketball. That's why. And folks, the way it's gone this year, it's just been so interesting. During the week, the weekday shows have crushed it, and the weekend shows have been a battle. Much like Rocky, rest in peace, Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, loved Apollo Creed. This week, weekday shows struggled a bit, so I think today is going to be the best day of the entire year. A huge, huge slate. Finished on a 6-1 run on Thursday. 7-2. Those night games were hot. We are ready to rock and roll. And I put the shows today in a different order just for you. Comments are flying. We'll get to them and get to the games. Big day of ball. Thank you very much. 5-1 yesterday. Red Foxes were not good. No, they weren't great. Nice job by you. Austin, these are Saturdays. It is. This is what makes college basketball such a great sport, folks, because NFL on the bye week, just 1 week NFL left, and then we take center stage. Then it is our time. Let's go, baby. Very excited. New logo is great. Ian, appreciate it. Got the banner going, ready to rock and roll. Get ready for the Expo, Fantasy Football Expo. Going to be there in Canton as well. Here we go. Kyle is pumped. Tennessee and North Carolina. Oh, I don't know about that, Kyle. We'll see what's going on. And LaRon's in the house. LaRon, it would not be a Saturday without you here. Cannot wait. Colby with the preview. Okay, Colby. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're going to roll. I got a ton of games ready to go. FTN, make sure to join us here. And, of course, don't forget the promo code, the FTN Bets promo code, FTN at Super Bowl, 25% off daily and bets. We are ready to go. Here it is, folks. These are my most confident plays. These are my favorite plays of the day. I'm putting them in the beginning. These are not numeric order, and I copy them, by the way. How to put them I'm going to put them in Discord as well. So the way they're written, I usually put the home team second. This time I did not. I don't think it's going to matter. Miami minus 2.5 against Virginia Tech. I don't trust Virginia Tech. I watched them the other day. Did not look good at home. Played very poorly against Duke. Miami, I still believe in the regression. Remember last week I came on. Miami's back again, sang the whole song. They were cruising last Saturday, cruising the entire game. And then Pittsburgh made a massive comeback in the end, 3 after 3. I don't get thrown off because of one result. We did get to the window with the 3.5, but it was close. If some of you got 4, I'm sorry about that. But we're going back to Miami again today. They're the better team. Larinaga at home. Most players back. Amir, Poplar. Last game, Nigel Pack had 2 fouls right away. Maybe that threw them off in the North Carolina State game. I'm not getting off of them. They're at home. I'm taking them. Eastern Kentucky's not losing this game to Kennesaw State. Eastern Kentucky came into the year as the number 1 team in the preseason. Eastern Kentucky did in the preseason poll. So my issue here is that Eastern Kentucky in the ASUN ranked 1 coming in. Why were they ranked 1? Because the majority of their team returned from last year. And last year, Eastern Kentucky was very strong, lost in the CBI finals in the tournament to Charlotte and brought almost everyone back. So they were the overwhelming favorite this year. They were cruising. They were 7-0 in the ASUN, and they lost at Queens. Got that one right. That was the start of her big run on Thursday night. Outright, they won, gave up 94 points. I'm not worried about that. I'm not confused about that. They had all their players. It was just a bad road game after going 7-0. Now they're away against Kennesaw. This is not a vintage Kennesaw team. They don't have the head coach from last year who's moved on to South Florida. They don't have a lot of pieces coming back. They haven't been great. I like this Eastern Kentucky team within the ASUN. They're number 1 in defense. They're number 1 in 2-point percentage allowed. They're going to create turnovers. They're going to do a good job. They're going to win on the road here. We're getting back on the Asheville train against Winthrop. We've loved Asheville all year long, and they played really well last week, earlier this week, rather. They just struggled against Gardner-Webb at the end. They are back home now. They were 6-1 in the Big South. They're now 6-2 after that loss. They have Winthrop. Now, this is a game before High Point coming up, so if you want to say look ahead, I get that, but the problem is you can't say look ahead in this spot because they can't afford to lose this game. They are 6-2. Gardner-Webb is 6-2. High Point is 8-0. They're playing a Winthrop team that is 5-3. Not buying it here. They did beat them away, so you could be worried about the payback spot here, but I like Asheville because they're coming off a loss. I like Asheville because of their defense. I like Asheville because they are number 1 in 3-point shooting within the Big South at 39%, and I think they bounce back here. We're taking Asheville. Got a lot of games today. I'm going to go flying, guys, because we got 50 games. St. John's plus 3.5 against UConn. I like them at home. These coaches do not like each other. A lot of questions on who's going to play here for UConn. UConn and St. John's played earlier this year. That was without the big, and St. John's lost a close one, 69-65, but they did cover for us. Now they are home. UConn is great. Danny Hurley's done a brilliant job. 19-2, 9-1 here in the conference. They have won 9 straight conference games. I think it ends today against the Johnnies. Huge game today. This game, St. John's in Connecticut, going to be in Madison Square Garden. There's going to be a lot of fans there, but I don't know the status of Caravan. Not a big Klingon guy. I think Soriano can limit him as well. So we're taking the Johnnies plus 3.5, and I don't mind the money line play. A lot of people are talking about money line play. I'm fine with that as well. William & Mary is absolutely awful. They are terrible. What a pitiful performance for us the other day in the CAA against Delaware. Got shellacked 81-53 at home. Now they have to play Charleston. They haven't played Charleston all year, and Charleston coming off a terrible loss to UNC Wilmington. They lost both games to UNC Wilmington this year, so now they dropped to 6-3. So a Charleston team under Pat Kelsey, which is always one of the best in the CAA, is now sitting at 6-3, a game behind Townsend and 2 games behind Drexel, and tied with UNC Wilmington, who they lost twice to. I think they've unleashed holy hell on William & Mary today. William & Mary stinks. Their defensive metrics, pitiful. Worst in the conference at defending the 2-pointer and worst in the conference in free throw shooting. You want to take the points of William & Mary after that pitiful performance against Delaware? Be my guest. No chance. This game is not at night, it is during the day. That matters to me. Utah State, need more caffeine, guys. Sorry. Utah State, very good team this year. And Utah State wants to get back here at San Diego State because they struggled last year against San Diego State. But this is a good Utah State team. Danny Sprinkle has come over from Montana State. They are right in the midst of things in the Mountain West. They are 7-1 in the Mountain West. They are leading the Mountain West. Boise State is 6-2. New Mexico 6-3. San Diego State behind them at 5-3. They have already beaten this Utah State team. They've played New Mexico. They lost 99-86. So they are just beat Boise away 90-84. The only reason you beat Utah State is because you get up and down the floor and outscore them. That is not going to happen with San Diego State. San Diego State is not the same statistically on defense that they were last year, and they're the absolute worst team, 29.5% from three-point range. So they are not making threes. Their defense is not up to where it was, and they're playing a well-coached defensive team in Utah State with great Osabor, who's come over from Montana State, the big man inside who scores 20 points at will. Don't like it here. It's not a nighttime game. We don't have to worry about a crazy crowd. They'll pack it, but Utah State's legit, and I like the 5.5 number as well. Another reason I like this game is the under. I just don't think San Diego State can score that much. They're going to have to keep it close. Sure. Is Utah State going to blow them out? No. Could San Diego State win by a little bit? Absolutely. But I am taking the under here, 147.5 as well. I don't buy Florida. Florida should have lost that game to Kentucky, just gave it back the entire time. Florida is just one of these teams I don't think can beat really good teams. They beat Kentucky, great. They won in overtime at Georgia, fantastic. They went away to Tennessee, they got blitzed. They went away to Mississippi, they gave up 103. They lost at home to Kentucky, so I guess that was a payback spot. But now they're playing Texas A&M on a road. It's their second straight road game. They got Auburn coming up. Texas A&M lost at home to Mississippi. There is no way Buzz Williams is losing 2 games in a row at home. They have struggled on offense, and they really need sometimes Wade Taylor to save them. Wade Taylor could have like a Jordan Crawford-like performance from Xavier years ago. That's what he's going to need. I just believe in Buzz. I believe in the defense here. They're not losing 2 straight home games. 3-4, Texas A&M struggling. Don't buy Florida. Great job on the big win there. Congratulations. You're going down today. Chattanooga here versus Samford. Chattanooga has been hot, and I've stayed away from them. And I warned you guys on the last show that you have to be careful with Chattanooga because Chattanooga can beat a team like Wofford, who's not very good. They have gotten hot, Chattanooga. They started 0-2. Chattanooga beat Western Carolina. Chattanooga beat a team like Western Carolina. The difference is Western Carolina can't score. That's why they beat Western Carolina. They struggle Western Carolina from three-point range, and that's sort of been their Achilles heel this year. That's what I'm concerned about with them. Chattanooga, 7-2, now at home hosting Samford. Huge game here, and they lost to Samford the first time. big time, 89.74. So you're going to say payback. That's fine. The payback doesn't necessarily work when you're dealing with a team like Chattanooga that has to have all of those points come from 3-point range. Chattanooga is number 1 in the country at points generated from beyond the arc. And the reason that is tough against Samford is because Samford can score as well and get up and down the floor. Now, Samford struggles to guard the 3, but this is a massive game in the SoCon. I think Samford covers here at Chattanooga, and I think they win. You can take a money line because it's only 1.5. Chattanooga, feast or famine with the threes, has been really hot lately, has played well, 7-2, won 5 straight games in a row, but this is still a team that lost at home to UNC Greensboro. This is still a team away that struggled against East Tennessee State. They are not as good as Samford. Yes, Chattanooga was the favorite. They are 7-2. They are a game behind Samford. I think Samford sweeps them here. One of the few times that I'm going to take a team to sweep the team in conference, I am taking Samford. Bryant is good. Bryant is really good. And Bryant is going to be angry playing a Maine team that did not show up in their last game. Bryant lost at home to Vermont, which was a tough one, and had a bounce back against UMBC, hung a number on him, 99. They like to run and get up and down the floor. Bryant is number 4 in the country in adjusted tempo per KenPom. They're number 1 within the Big East. No one runs more than them. Phil Martelli has done a great job taking this team over, and they've played very well. This team is 6-1. They had the loss to Vermont. They're still a team that's sitting just 1 game behind Vermont in the America East. So they're going to want payback on them, I'm sure, and that's coming up away on Saturday, February 24th. Now they're playing Maine. Maine just does not look as good as it normally does. They got beat badly at UMass Lowell, who can be offensively anemic, and they gave up 76 points to them. Don't trust them here against Bryant. I think Bryant gets rolling. Maine struggles to score. I know it's home. I'm laying it as well. Next game we're going with, we have about 3 more. These are my best plays of the day. I have 4 here, more total, and then we'll just go through the regular ones rapid fire. Indiana State versus Drake. I have been trying to fade Drake the entire year. I think they're very overrated. This is not a vintage Drake team. They beat Missouri State away. They lost Missouri State away in 2 overtimes. They did beat Northern Iowa, but Bowen Bourne didn't play in that game. Then they played Valpol and didn't cover. I think Drake is going the wrong way. I think they're very overrated. Yes, they do a nice job. Their 3-pointers aren't scoring. They don't force a lot of shots. And now they have to go on the road against Indiana State, a team that they beat at home 89-78. Indiana State's not having it. They had the bump in the road to Drake, but that was the only loss that they had in the Missouri Valley. At home today, I saw a preview of what the stadium looks like. They got the towels going. Nuts. It's going to be a nuts atmosphere in Indiana State today, and they are going to pound Drake. Enough of Drake. Indiana State wants to take complete control of this Missouri Valley. They are 10-1. Their only losses to Drake. If they win this game, they have a 2-game lead in the Missouri Valley. They want to get it. All the other games coming up, they're going to be favored in easily. So this is the big one here. 82.77. KenPom has it at 5, right at this number. I think Indiana State rolls them. Who are they worried about on the road? I guess maybe Southern Illinois. Basically, if Indiana State wins this game, they are winning the Missouri Valley Conference. Josh Schurz knows it. The Sycamores know it. The Sycamore fans know it. Indiana State laying the number. This number dropped. I have no idea why. Wake Forest at home is an absolute machine, and now they are more healthy than they have been earlier in the year. Wake Forest has lost 2 straight games on the road. They've actually lost their last 4 road games. So Wake Forest at home, get the Hulk smash out. Wake Forest on the road, not nearly anywhere near as good. They lost away to Florida State. They lost away to North Carolina State. They lost away to North Carolina, and they lost away to Pittsburgh. They were killing Pittsburgh, and then they gagged it in the second half and gave it back. Now they're home. Now they're ticked. When they're home, they score. What have they done at home? 90, 86, 84, 86, 91, 88, 83. They're going to score 80 points today. Syracuse is not on the road here. I give Adrian Archer credit. He's done a better job than I thought, but this is a terrible spot. And their road games, they played at Duke. They lost by 20, Syracuse. They played at North Carolina. They gave up 103. They played away at Pittsburgh and won that game because Pittsburgh stinks. I don't know how they covered against Wake last week. And they played Boston College and gave it back last week. Now they're going on the road to Wake Forest, a team that's lost 2 in a row, that has Monsanto back who bangs the threes. Get out of here. Wake Forest hangs a number today. Forget it with Alabama. And I'll tell you something. I'm ticked at myself for not giving the subs the pick last night with Butler. Creighton stinks and Alabama stinks. And here's my problem with Alabama. You don't play defense. You play zero defense. They were getting buried at Georgia. And you know what they did? They just came back because Georgia's defense on Mike White is very sketchy. I just don't buy it. They hit 3 after 3 and got super hot. Not buying it. Yes, you beat Auburn at home. Yes, you beat LSU at home. You beat Georgia in a miracle comeback last week. You went to Tennessee away and you dropped 20. You went away to Mississippi State and you beat them in that game 82-77. In that game, Mississippi State just uncharacteristic, 15 of 27 from the free throw line for Mississippi State. That cannot happen today. But Tulu Smith is back. Now, he was back in that first game, but he wasn't fully acclimated. He wasn't his regular Tulu Smith. Mississippi State under Chris Jans plays great defense. They are going to keep this game close. 8.5 is too much. I know the thing about Alabama at home. You know what? People last night were saying Creighton at home. Creighton at home against Butler. Butler stinks. What's the difference? Butler, there's similarities here. Butler is really well coached. Mississippi State is really well coached. Butler can score. Mississippi State has games where they can score, but they're great on defense. No way. I'm fading them today. I'm taking Mississippi State plus 8.5 at Alabama. Teams like Alabama and Creighton and Chattanooga are not teams that I like because they rely way too much on the three, and I think they're skeptical. Last night, that line was going the other direction. Everybody said, Friday night, Omaha, Creighton's great. Get out of here with that garbage. I think Mississippi State scores, and I trust their defense here. I am taking them. The only thing I'm going to say about this Kentucky-Tennessee game, and I got to pick on it, I will get to that. Why is this game over? On what planet should this game be over? I looked this number up. I thought it was nuts. The Kentucky-Tennessee game, I'm pulling it up right here. I took the notes last night. First of all, Barnes is 10-9 versus Kentucky as Tennessee head coach. So Tennessee's not afraid of Kentucky. The Vols have won twice at Kentucky in 2020 and 2021. Guys, do you know 12 of the last 13 games between these two teams has been way under this number? I'm talking in the 130s, 140s. What is this number here? I get it. Both teams like to run, but one, I think it's going to be close. So I don't think it's going to be close if it's going to be high scoring because Tennessee, while their defense has regressed a little bit, it's still Tennessee's defense. So if I think this game's going to be close, which I do, then I think it has to be low scoring. And Tennessee themselves can struggle to score besides Connect, who's playing like a first-team All-American. Under 159.5, easy one for me today. I'll get to the pick in a minute, but I like the under. Let's get to the comments here. Want to make sure. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about that one. You're damn right, Ian. It's college basketball time. The energy's coming. I'm caffeinated. There could be water in this cup. I'm not going to care. Kyle, I appreciate it. We got the big ones early. I got them out of the way for you. Preston, I don't care about the line movement. I just don't care. If it's +1 now, I am taking it. I believe in Eastern Kentucky. If there's an injury that I don't know about, which is always possible, we can talk about it. I'll be in the Discord. But until I hear anything else, I'm going with it as well. Al, I appreciate you coming back. Thank you so much. Sanderson in the house gave me a nice credit there. I appreciate it. St. John's feels like I get it, Ian. I do. I understand that, but I also believe in regression. There's a couple things that trump everything to me. Number one is regression is eventually going to happen. UConn has been flying high, and they've been able to escape a bunch of games, even though they've been injured. They're injured again today. Caravan is critical to what they do. Do I think he's going to play? Maybe, but is he going to be his vintage self? I don't know. I know UConn's going to pack the house because they're nuts, but I still like them here. Appreciate it. Let's see. Ready to roll at San Diego State. You know what, Sales? Here's the thing. If this game was at night, maybe I could get there. But the daytime, this game's going to start 12 o'clock, San Diego State time. Utah State is a very well-disciplined team, and I don't think San Diego State's going to score. 5.5? You want to say 2.5, Sales? That's fine. 5.5, get out of here. Joey, in the house, my man, Expo. I'll see you there. You know the deal. You like the over in the Bryant game. Kyle, I can take a look at it later. I do think Bryant's going to hang a freaking number. That's for sure. Kyle, I get it. But yeah, every time they couldn't close that because they can't play defense, Kyle. And that's the thing. Do I think Alabama's defense is going to show up against Mississippi State today? No. Do I think Alabama's going to be able to torch Chris Jans' Mississippi State defense? No. That's why I'm taking Mississippi State. Back to the picks, folks. Let's keep moving on here. Bowen Bourne is back. It's 5.5. This game was almost a top play. It's the first play that is not a top play today. because it's high and Murray State is playing well. But I love Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa has been really strong this year. They just didn't have Bourne, and they've slowed down a little bit. So that's why this line is adjusted to a certain extent. They lost to Drake without him, and then they played Bradley away. And you could play with the 85 Celtics Bradley away. You know how hard it is to win Bradley at home. Now they're playing Murray State. They did beat Murray State away. So if you want to say payback, but I think Northern Iowa returns to the team they were prior to not having Bourne and Drake. He played Bradley, but he certainly wasn't himself in that game. That was the issue. Bourne returned. He was 3 of 7 from inside the arc. Just wasn't at the level he normally was. Prior to that, they beat Illinois Chicago at home. They beat Murray away by 10. They beat Belmont away by 11. They beat Southern Illinois. They beat Evansville. I think they get back to business here and beat Murray State. You know I don't like Murray State. I don't like Steve Prom. I think they get offense. They're a little shaky. They can foul a lot. They're not great on the boards. This is a well-coached team here in Indiana State, Northern Iowa. I just think that Northern Iowa, it's a little too high. That was my question. I mean, you saw this one coming. South Carolina is legit. They play great defense for Lamont Paris. They share the ball. They win at Tennessee when Michi Johnson gives them nothing. Zippo from Michi Johnson, only 3 points. If he scores, forget it. What's the deal here? It's at Georgia. Is it a Georgia bounce back? Is that what we're worried about here? You want to say it's a letdown against Tennessee? This South Carolina team is legit. They beat Kentucky at home by 17. They beat Tennessee away by 4. A good Tennessee team. They're great defensively. They play at their pace, and they were shooting well. They'd have to have a really bad shooting night, and Mike White would have to pull a horseshoe out of his rear end for this game today. Georgia has finally started to regress. Lost at home to Tennessee, lost away to Kentucky, giving up 105, lost to Florida away, lost to Alabama, back to life, back to reality. See ya, Mike White. South Carolina plus 1.5. Why do we keep doubting Monmouth? Would people not like Monmouth? You're going to give me 7.5 at Delaware. I know Delaware is good at home, but what else do they have to prove? Monmouth and King Rice have been fantastic. They got us one of our few only wins early on Thursday. Thursday was rough, but we got this one, no problem. Had in the action app. Monmouth, 81-78 at home. Drexel, 67-62. They compete well. Stony Brook was a stumble, but they played well at Drexel. They played well at Charleston. They played well at UNC Wilmington. What is the deal here? They are playing Delaware. Haven't played them yet this year. 7 is too much. I get it that Delaware is going to bounce back, but they've been very up and down and inconsistent. It's not like they've been great. They're not great from the free throw line. Delaware doesn't force turnovers. I believe in King Rice. I know this is the game of the day. Sorry, not Kansas State. Let me change that. Sorry, guys. Kansas. I know this is the game of the day, and I know most people are going to be on Kansas here, because you're going to tell me that Bill Self is an underdog, and you're going to tell me that they don't lose at home when he's an underdog at 2-0. Here's my issue. Hunter Dickinson's got to have a monster today. If you like Kansas, then tether your Kansas pick to Hunter Dickinson overs. I think that the Houston big men inside are going to play very well against Hunter Dickinson. This is a huge game. I did not make this a tier 1 game for several reasons. It is very tough when Bill Self is home and he's an underdog. As I said, it's only happened twice. If Kansas loses this game, they are 5-4 in the Big 12. They are essentially eliminated from winning the Big 12. Why? Houston would then have a 2-game lead on them. Iowa State would have a 2-loss lead on them. Texas Tech would have a 2-loss lead on them. They would actually be behind if TCU wins today, TCU and or Baylor. Too many teams to leapfrog. This game has to be the win for them today. I like Houston. I like their matchups. I like their defense. I also like their depth. I don't like Kansas's depth. Johnny Furphy is not scoring a ton today against Houston. That is not happening. Kevin McCullough was out last game. Hopefully he's healthy. Are we going to get vintage McCullough? I don't know. So I think they're going to be able to man up on Dickinson and push him around a little bit, who's a little bit king of the little people. I think that they're not deep enough. I think Houston's going to be able to score because Kansas can't foul because they're not very good on depth. And I think Houston's just defense is so hard to replicate. Houston circled this game. This is the game. They want to win the Big 12. They've waited to come to a conference like this. I know it's Self. I know the fog's going to be screaming. I don't care. I'm taking Houston minus 1.5. How about Detroit finally getting a win? Detroit, who is winless against Robert Morris. Jaden Stone has come back. They played Robert Morris about a week ago, and it went to double overtime away at Robert Morris, and they almost won. How about Detroit tonight getting 5? How about a money line play for the Detroit Titans here, who I think are, 0-20 this year? They're horrific. So, yes, we are picking a team that has not won a game. They are 0-23. The Detroit Mercy Titans under Mike Davis, 0-23. 0-12 in the horizon. It's been catastrophic, but they have played better since Jaden Stone has returned. They only lost to Northern Kentucky by 5 at home, who is the leader of the horizon year in and year out. Robert Morris away 2 overtimes, couldn't get that one. Last week against Cleveland State, they kept it fairly close. They did keep it fairly close before giving it away late. They're going to get a win. I want to be at the wedding. I want to be at the wedding because I've been at the funeral all year long. Detroit getting a win today, and I'll take the 5 points. UMass is good. Cross is back. You heard Frank Martin talk about how important Cross is to this team. They play well. I think they get the job done here against Mason. I think this line is too low. UMass is going to score tonight. No problem today in their matchup. This game is right at 12. They're going to be able to score. They're at home. I believe in this team. I just don't think George Mason is good enough to beat them. They're very close in Ken Palm. They lost at home to St. Joe's. That was a rough loss, but they did beat St. Louis away, hung 84. They did beat George Washington. They have the Bonnies away coming up, but their stats have been good. They're great on the offensive boards. You know that with Martin. They just have to hit some threes, and they play better at home hitting threes. And this is a Mason team that went away to St. Joe's and lost, that went away to George Washington and lost, that went away to Richmond and lost. They won away at LaSalle. That was a long, long time ago. I'm taking UMass minus 3.5. I don't believe in Texas. You guys know that. I'll take TCU at home. TCU is very tough. Jamie Dixon does a great job. This team has to be able to score, but they're great in transition. Texas has been saved on the road by some big game and big time performances from players like Dylan Dessou and Max Asmus. I don't think they get it today. As I said, I thought that Rodney Terry was going to have an adjustment period only because he took over last year and was so magical. It's natural to have some regression. They won Oklahoma away, which was great, but they went to BYU and got destroyed. They battled in that Houston game, but they were dominated in the first half and they were pushed around. They're only 3-5. The regression is there. I know this is a big-time matchup, but I like TCU. TCU has shown a lot of grit. They won 3 overtimes away against Baylor. That's not an easy win. Oklahoma State took care of business. Texas Tech at home was a big win. This is a good team. They need this win. They want to make the tournament, and they want a good seed. Jamie Dixon doing a superior job in TCU has gotten his team to play well. They shoot the 3 well. They're great on the offensive boards. Texas isn't going to be able to push them around. I like them there. I don't like Indiana. I fade Indiana all year long. You won't like Penn State. That's fine with me. I've never believed in this Mike Woodson ridiculous thing of where everyone else wants to shoot threes and get up and down the floor and space the floor and have a big that can step out. We're going to pound it inside with extra bigs. Penn State has been playing well lately, so I love Penn State. I'm fine with this. They have not been playing well earlier in the year, but they have battled lately. They did beat Wisconsin at home, was good. They went to Rutgers last week and looked very strong. You know that Mike Rhodes can coach. They have great guards and players like Ace Baldwin who can D up, and Indiana has just struggled. I know they are very good at home, which is why you're getting a big number, and I get it, but I am fading them here in this matchup. I am taking Penn State plus the 5.5. If they go off and hit threes, that's fine. That's why I didn't put it on the top line. Pain to me. God, strike me down for not believing in John Becker. Just an embarrassment on my part. John Becker is one of the best coaches in the entire nation, does it year in and year out. And this Vermont team struggled. They had back-to-back losses to Colgate at home and Virginia Tech. They had a game against Yale that they won last minute that they shouldn't have. But look at what John Becker has done again. 7-0 in the America East. 6th longest winning streak in the nation, the Catamounts. UMass Lowell away. That was supposed to be a close game. They came all the way back. They won by 7 overtime. Bryant away. Here's Bryant, the upstart team. We're going to beat you. No, you're going to get smoked by 10 at home, Bryant was. And they only allowed 57 points, that Bryant offense. And then Albany took them to the woodshed, 81-59 at home. They're crushing Binghamton. They beat them by 20 away. I think they beat them by 20 at home. Love this game. This game should have been on the first line in retrospect. I have it on the second line here. I love this game today. VMI has hung around. They had the miracle cover for us the other day, which was great. A huge comeback. Love VMI. I don't think Mercer's worthy of being a 13.5-point favorite over anyone. So I'm taking them there as well. I'll take Minnesota. At some point, Northwestern's not going to make 50% of the threes. Every game that Northwestern has played, they're hitting threes. They go up against Purdue, and kudos to Chris Collins. They go up to Purdue. They hit 50% of their threes in that game. They have played Purdue twice. The first time they played Purdue, 10 of 20 from three-point range. They win that game in overtime. Then they go up and they play, and then they go up and they play Purdue. And what they go last week? 14 to 27. So this year, Northwestern against Purdue is shooting over 50% from three-point range. At some point, that's going to stop, guys. And you probably think, if it's going to stop, you think it's probably going to be a letdown spot today against Minnesota. I think it is. I'll take Minnesota at home. People are going to jump on Northwestern because they're going to remember that Purdue game. Collins gets kicked out. I'll take Minnesota at home, who's tough at home in the barn, plus a half point. Don't like Oklahoma State. I know it's on the road. I'm taking Kansas State here with Jerome Tang. Very hard team to figure out. Kansas State, very up and down. And again, I thought there was some regression coming with Tang as well. But I believe in this team more than I believe in Oklahoma State. They've lost 3 straight games, Kansas State. They lost to Iowa State, Houston, and Oklahoma. This is a desperation spot. 14-7, 4-4 in the Big 12. We're starting to worry about the tournament here a little bit because you want to look at some of their wins Kansas State had in the non-conference. Bellarmine, South Dakota State, Central Arkansas, Oral Roberts overtime, North Alabama overtime. They need a win here. I'm going with them as well. Okay, I'll take Kentucky. I'm not saying I feel great about it because I love this Tennessee team. I love what Rick Barnes is doing, and we all hate Rick Barnes, and we say he can't win the big game, but you're going to win on the road in Kentucky? I just can't see it. It's a close game. It's not a double, 2-unit, or major pick because it's a wonderful game. I do like the under. I told you that. I will take Kentucky. If this game was on a neutral, I'd be all over Tennessee because the circle there. I used to got that from interviewing some of the beat reporters down in the South. Barnes beats Calipari. Calipari beats Pearl. Pearl beats Barnes and just goes in a big circle. I've never heard that before. I think it's fascinating. But I told you, Rick Barnes actually has a winning record against Kentucky since he's been at Tennessee. They have won twice here. I think it was 2019 and 2020. They won twice in a row with Kentucky. They have no fear of going here. However, it's just a tough spot. And to win on the road at Kentucky, when Kentucky needs this game, I'll take Tennessee. Georgetown stinks. Watch Divine Providence if it ever comes back up on YouTube. It was tremendous. Marquette -12. They're starting to road. Tyler Kolek looks so good against Villanova. Cam Jones is out. If Cam Jones comes back, I love it. We have to hear some information. Put it in the chat if you hear about Cam Jones. I hope Cam Jones is back. If he's not and they win by 8, you got me. But I'll take them there. Stonehill is catastrophically bad. They're terrible. Wagner -3.5 at Stonehill. Stonehill is terrible. I've watched them a couple times. Why? I don't know because I need a life. They're absolutely terrible. Taking them there. Central Connecticut has impressed me. Merrimack wants to slow it down. You're going to give me points in a battle at Merrimack. Central Connecticut went to Fordham, looked really good. They have some explosive guards that can score. Merrimack stats, especially in offense, not great. I'm taking them there as well. Guys, if you want to keep giving me numbers against Florida Atlantic, I'll take them. Now, you're going to say Florida Atlantic at some point is going to cover these numbers. I understand that. I want to wait and see it. I love the Owls last year. They were my team. They are a shell of what they used to be last year. Let's look at their games recently. After the Arizona win on the neutral in 2 overtimes, Florida Gulf Coast away, they lose. Eastern Carolina home didn't cover. Charlotte away, they lose outright. Tulane away didn't cover. UAB home didn't cover. Wichita State home didn't cover. Texas, San Antonio away didn't cover. Rice, I think they covered by a point, maybe. North Texas didn't cover, should have lost that game outright. They're just not covering here. So I'm taking Tulsa and the points. I get it. At some point, they're going to explode. And if you like the over in this game, that's fine because Tulsa has no problem getting up and down the floor. They are the second fastest team in the AAC per tempo and KenPom 2. Florida Atlantic, I'm fine with that. They can't defend inside the arc, but they sure as hell can score. This is a blind pick on the fact that Florida Atlantic is not covering big numbers. You don't like it because you don't think Tulsa can defend them? No problem with that. I'm taking Tulsa there. Haven't been impressed with East Tennessee State's offense. The Citadel does just enough to be annoying. Look back historically, games between these two teams have been very, very close. Citadel does a nice job. They are 1-8 in the conference, so no one's going to pick them here under Ed Conroy. The problem is East Tennessee State under Brooks Savage, his first year at East Tennessee State, not the usual East Tennessee State flavor. Lost at home to Stanford, lost at home to Chattanooga, lost at home to Western Carolina. Not their normal level here. I am taking the Citadel plus 6.5 on the road. I know we're all going to pass out. You think I'm losing my mind. Oklahoma got us last week, but something is not right with Oklahoma here. I will take UCF at home. UCF beat Kansas at home. They've played well. Not a Johnny Dawkins guy, but I just don't like Oklahoma as a favorite on the road. I think this should be UCF minus 2.5, and then probably I'd stay away from it here. Just don't like that as well. It's a rivalry game. I get it. It's JMU is playing so well, and I think they're king of the little people, and I think Old Dominion is king of the little people. They got me last week with a nice bounce back. I think it was earlier this week, actually. Old Dominion got me earlier this week. Yeah, the game against Marshall on Thursday. But prior to that, they played at James Madison. They lost by 16. You want to say it's a bounce back here. They played, at home, and they lost to James Madison by 16. You want to say it's a bounce back. I'm not going to buy it because James Madison just lost away to App State. They can't mess around here. Usually, James Madison this year has taken care of business at home against Louisiana Monroe, against South Alabama. They won by almost 40. They take care of business at home. Old Dominion's not good. I'll lay the points. I'm not picking Arkansas LSU. Arkansas bounced back last week and had a great win, but they're just so inconsistent. They could easily win this game, or LSU could win this game. So what I'm going with is I think Arkansas's defense shows up, and I'm not that impressed with LSU's offense that I think that they can run away and bury them. So I'll go to the under in this game. I have no idea who's going to win. I don't know if LSU is going to win by 8 or Arkansas is going to pull another upset. I know Musselman does a good job, and I know there's a lot of frustration with Arkansas because they're very disappointing. They're 11-10, but usually their defense shows up. And I think defense and effort is something that he's going to be very good at. LSU would have to bury them from beyond the arc. The way that you beat this team, this Arkansas team, is crushing them from beyond the arc, and they're just not elite on offense. LSU plays at a fast tempo, can give a lot of turnovers. I'll take Arkansas LSU under, not picking a side in this game. UMass Lowell, I'm done. Koulibaly, I thought would come back. Something's up with Koulibaly. He's there. He's in and out of the game. He's injured. Then he's playing. Then he's getting in foul trouble right away and going back to the bench. Without Koulibaly, I don't think UMass Lowell is covering 10 against New Hampshire. New Hampshire wants to get up and down the floor. They can score. So even if they're down a little bit, they can come back. I'm going there. I'll take Michigan State minus 6.5 against Maryland. My read on Maryland has been consistent. I think they're king of the little people. I think they beat teams they're supposed to beat, and I do not think they beat good teams. Michigan State is a good team. This game is on the road. I'm taking Michigan State minus 6.5. Don't look now, but Towson is back. Towson is playing super well right now. One of the hottest teams in the country. Pat Skerry finally got this team going here. They looked brutal early to start. They lost to Houston, Wake Forest, and North Texas, but those are 3 really good teams. What has Pat Skerry done? They have won 5 straight games. Charleston away, Campbell home, Drexel home, Delaware away, Northeastern they beat 83-76, got the cover by 1 point there. Thank you very much. Now it's Hofstra. Hofstra really has struggled. They beat Stony Brook. Yeah, they beat Stony Brook at the last minute, but they should have lost that game. Towson is hot right now, playing super well. Their metrics don't look great, but they defend the 3 well, so Hofstra's not going to be able to shoot over them, and they shoot really well, especially at home. They control the pace. South Florida is one of the teams that I like. They've been great against the spread lately, have played real well. Abdul Rahim is the head coach there, who came over from Kennesaw State last year. Took him a while to get acclimated. I understand that. They started the year 2-4, but since starting 2-4, they have gone 12-1. South Florida is one of my favorite teams in the country that no one is talking about here. Now they're playing North Texas. North Texas slows it down. I get it. Tough loss last time. I thought North Texas was going to be able to beat UAB. They did not. They lost in overtime. So they've lost 3 of their last 4, one of which was home. I like South Florida here. I think it's too many points. I like North Texas. They do a good job. It's not Grant McCaslin. It's the first year for North Texas with Ross Hodge. Maybe they're finally regressing a little bit. I hate Pittsburgh, 10.5. I'll take Notre Dame. The backcourt, they can control pace. Pittsburgh sometimes beats us with some crazy threes, and sometimes they stink. I'll take them there. I think 4.5 is way too much for Mississippi at home. I know we love Auburn, but Chris Beard this year, you look at this job that Chris Beard has done. If it wasn't for Lamont Paris, Chris Beard, you can say what you want about the off-the-court stuff. He's done a great job. They have not lost at home this year. They are perfect at home this year. They just beat Mississippi State in that big game. Now they're facing Auburn. They went away to Auburn, and they lost 82-59. It is a payback spot. It's a second time in conference. They're on the road. Auburn, I get it, metrically looks really good, but their struggles have been offensively. On the road, they lost to Alabama. On the road, they lost to Mississippi State. They went to Vanderbilt. That game wasn't a blowout until late. I like Mississippi getting 4.5. I think it's too many points. I get it. When you look at the metrics, Mississippi gets struggling offense. I don't really care. Northeastern stinks. I'm taking Stony Brook -3 at home over Northeastern. We have faded them correctly. They've been a cash cow for them. They're just not playing well. Sometimes at home they do well. Don't like them here in the spot on the road. I don't know how anyone's going to stop I don't know how Syracuse is going to stop Wake Forest. I like Wake Forest to win big. I think they hang a number. Syracuse is not good defensively, and Wake Forest scores on everybody at home. So we're taking the over there. Iowa State is, let's check this one out really quick. Iowa State on the road here at Baylor. Yeah, I apologize. This is Iowa State. That should be getting 3. Sorry about that. Let me change that here. Iowa State getting 3 at home against Baylor. That is the pick there. I love this Iowa State team. I think they play very well. I think they control pace, and I will take them getting points. Baylor still not finding enough consistency for me. You know, TJ Alsenberger is right smack dab in the middle of this Big 12 race. If Houston loses at Kansas today, Iowa State can be back tied for first place. They're going to play well against Baylor. I think 3.5 is too much. You know, we don't like Mick Cronin. We don't like when Mick Cronin was yelling at his players, all that stuff. But Mick Cronin's got his team playing pretty well. Mick Cronin is a really good coach. He is, and he's going to get it right. And what has he done lately? Washington at home, Arizona State away, went away to Arizona and lost by 6. Arizona at home is like the Hulk smash. Played well. UCLA away, won by 15. Oregon State home, wins by 8. He's got them on the right path. They lost away by 5 at Oregon, so it's a payback spot. Mick Cronin with a Bruin team playing well at home in a payback spot. Underdog? No. I'll take them as well. I don't think St. Mary's ready to win this game. I think Gonzaga has warts, but at home they're very good. St. Mary's can be a little bit up and down. They struggle on offense. They look around the key. This is a big rivalry game. The Kennel's going to be pumping tonight. I will take Gonzaga -4.5 against St. Mary's. Couple left, and I'll get your questions, guys. I think the Charleston-William Mary game goes under. I just don't think William Mary can score. I don't think they can score enough here. I think Charleston could easily get to 75 or 80 points. I don't think William Mary's breaking 60, and that's why I'm taking the under here. I think it's a comfortable win. And I mentioned this to you already. I think Mississippi State's defense plays out, so I will take the under 156.5. Thank you, guys. Let's get to your questions. Let's see. What do we got? Okay, Kentucky money line. Yeah, I'm fine with it, Poncho. I listen, I really like Tennessee. That's why it's not a top play for me. I love Tennessee, and they've won at Kentucky, but Kentucky needs this game, and it's very hard to win on the road. I'm taking Kentucky in this matchup here. Let's see. I'm taking South Carolina. That's what I'm doing. And A&M, I'm taking both all day. Sanderson, you know the deal. Ian isn't with me on Houston. I agree, and I get it. The whole world is saying Bill Self is an underdog at home. I don't care. It's about the matchups. I think Houston's physicality, and I think the lack of depth on Kansas is going to hurt them here. Josh says you can touch it first half. It's not a bad play, Josh. I like that. I like that as well. Detroit Mercy Sanderson. Are we going to correctly predict that Detroit's going to win their first game today after being 0-23 against Bobby Morris? I think we will. Yeah, Chris, you know the deal. 0-21, 0-23. We're picking Detroit. I'm going on the action pod in a little bit, and we're going with Detroit as a money line play. This is what we do. CG, I'm hammering Miami. I love Miami. They let us down against NC State, but Pat got in foul trouble. They are back home again. They were destroying Pittsburgh last week by double digits for almost the entire game and then gagged it at the end. I don't think Virginia Tech can get back. I did not like the way they looked, especially on the interior here. Lynn is going to have to battle Omir. That's not going to happen. Let's see. Yep, fading FAU has been profitable. They could beat us here, Ian. But we've covered besides the Rice game, I think we've covered 7 of the last 8 bets against Florida Atlantic. So if you get us today, congratulations. But I am not someone who jumps off a streak. That's not my thing. I'm staying with it here. That's what I'm doing. Duke UNC. I just like the under, Poncho, in this game. It's very close to call. You have UNC, who I think has some regression coming. They had it against Georgia Tech. I faded them against Pittsburgh, against NC State. Teams couldn't make a shot against them. If Duke can make shots, they can keep in this game. But the one I'm going to is the under. It's a lot of young players in this game going to the under. Notre Dame line movement. What's the line movement here, Ian? You got me curious here. What is the line movement on Notre Dame? Again, I don't care about line movements. That sprinkles on the Sunday. Sometimes it goes for you. Sometimes it goes against you. I want to get the line, but what? You have me intrigued here. Line movement on Pittsburgh and Notre Dame. Is it going in our direction or not? Let me pull it up here, guys. Sorry, Ian has got me curious here about line movement. Curious. We do like Notre Dame in this matchup, but let's see here. Yeah, it's 10.5. It's starting to go down to 9.5. Okay, so it's moving on direction. I get it as well. Benny says hammer Detroit Mercy. That's how you know Benny loves the show, because we're hammering Detroit Mercy. And Sanderson likes UConn scares me. I get it, but Miami at home. I'm with you guys. I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Again, most live watchers we ever had. Hit like, hit subscribe, tell a friend, tell someone who hates me, fade me or follow, whatever you do. But we come here 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Usually we go Wednesday, Thursday at 2 o'clock, maybe changing with NFL over. Share on social. Thank you, Sanderson. I appreciate that. Saturday mornings, 9:30, though. Coffee, we're always together. Thank you for joining us. As always, guys, we're ready to rock and roll. I feel a big day coming. And as always, FTN, join us. Tell a friend. I'm Mike Randle and X at Randle Rand. Let's get to the window.